Oh, would you look at that? It finally arrived. The Garmin Forerunner 965. What's up, friends? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Dave from Chase the Summit, and this is the brand new Garmin Forerunner 965. And I have been waiting for this watch for quite some time. And the reason why I'm so excited about this watch is because I've been a longtime user of the Garmin Forerunner 955 that I have here. And the 955 has been one of my favorite watches from Garmin. I wore it for quite some time until I scratched the lens pretty bad, and then I ended up swapping it out for the Garmin Epix Gen 2 for some time, but I still have a special place in my heart for the 955. There were some things I didn't love about this watch, including the transflective display. I was hoping they'd do something with an AMOLED eventually, and that's exactly what the 965 is. In this video today, I'm going to be taking this watch out of the box for the first time, turning it on, getting a look at it, and reacting to it, and giving you my initial impressions. So because of that, obviously this is not an in-depth review or anything like that, but if you want to learn all about the new 965, you can go check out the video I posted a couple of weeks ago about the 265 and the 965, where I go through all of the specs. In this video today, it's more of an unboxing and first look. With all that jib-jab out of the way, let's crack into this box and get to the point of this video. Here it is, the Garmin Forerunner 965. Now, as I open this box, I do want to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video, and that is playbetter.com. If you're unaware of who PlayBetter is, they're a USA retailer. They sell the 965, they sell the 955 and all Garmin watches, and they have a free 2-day shipping and a no-hassle 60-day long return policy, so you can change your mind 2 months later and still get your money back, which is great. So if you're interested in picking up a Garmin Forerunner 965, an Epix Gen 2, a Fenix 7, or any Garmin watch for that matter, check out the links in the description down below because they do help support this channel and they cost nothing extra to you. So you might as well use them. Okay, as you can see, I cracked open the box and now I've got my first glimpse at the brand new Forerunner 965. Like I said, I have not opened this box or even seen the 965 in person yet, so this is my first look at this thing, and I gotta say, it looks pretty good. What is kind of odd is the little strap retainer thing that goes on your band. Looks like it's just kind of floating around in the box, where with other Garmin watches, I remember these being in a little plastic bag, but whatever, not a big deal. Let's get the watch all the way out of this box so we can take a closer look at it. All right, we got the watch all the way out, and there it is. There's the Garmin Forerunner 965. I'm gonna go ahead and peel off the little protective sticker thing and stick that on the box. I like to stick them on the box so I can save them for later. And there it is. There's the Garmin boot up animation. As you can see there, the blue triangle and a really cool Forerunner animation. Pretty wild on these AMOLED displays, what they can do with all the colors and animations and stuff. And now we're at the language selection screen. I'm gonna go ahead and click English, and it's asking if I wanna pair with my phone, so I will say yes. And now that it's paired up with my Garmin Connect account, it is syncing now for the first time, which can take a couple of minutes for all of my data to sync over from my other watches to this one. And as you can see, it's complete, and I just got my email from Garmin saying, thank you for purchasing a Garmin Forerunner 965. Now I just wanna take a closer look at the hardware here now that the watch is all set up and compare it to some other watches. So like I said, I have not seen the Garmin Forerunner 965 in person yet, and this is a really good looking watch. One thing that really stands out about the 965 is the metal bezel. It's got a titanium bezel on it, and this is a huge upgrade in my opinion. It's probably pretty minor to most people, but like I said, I used to wear the Garmin Forerunner 955 quite a bit, and one thing that bothered me about this watch is that it's a $600 watch, and it didn't feel as premium as a lot of the other options out there from like Coros or Suunto in this price point. And I do think the addition of that titanium bezel around the front of the watch does give it a little bit more of a distinct look, and it makes it feel just a little bit more expensive, like you got your money's worth. Another thing that stands out quite a bit when you hold the 965 next to the 955 is that AMOLED display. Obviously, this is the biggest AMOLED display that Garmin's ever put on a watch. This is a 1.4-inch touch-enabled AMOLED display. And when you compare it to something like the 955, it's quite a difference when it comes to the overall screen real estate. And if you're curious how the Garmin Forerunner 965 compares to some other Garmin watches in terms of size, I've got a few on the table here. So all the way on the left here, we have the Garmin Epix Gen 2, which is a 46mm diameter watch. Next to that, we have the new 965. Next to that is the 955. And all the way on the right here is the Garmin Tactix 7, which is the same size as something like the Garmin Fenix 7, which is a 51mm case size. And as you can see, except for the larger watches all the way on the right here, most of these watches from the 955, the 965, and the Epix Gen 2 are pretty similar in size in their footprint. As you can see here, I've got the Epix Gen 2 on the left and the 965 on the right, and I'll turn the displays on there so you can see them. And if I flip them on their sides, you can see that the 965 is a tiny bit thinner than the Epix Gen 2, but really they do feel pretty similar in size when they're in my hands. Again though, the difference in the display size is pretty noticeable between the Epix Gen 2 and the 965, especially when you're scrolling through widgets. So on the Epix Gen 2, we've got a 1.3 inch AMOLED display, while on the 965, we've got a 1.4 inch AMOLED display. So that's a 0.1 inch difference between these two displays, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you hold them side by side like this, you can definitely see that increased size and a little bit more screen real estate on the 965. Looking at the hardware a little bit closer, if I flip the 965 on its side, on the top here, we have the backlight on and off button. This will also get you to your quick selection menu if you hold it. In the middle here, we've got the settings button. If you hold that, you drop into the settings. And then on the bottom here, we've got a button that has a little music icon. I don't know if you can see that. And if you hold that button, that'll actually bring you to the music player in the watch for your Spotify or Amazon Music, or just straight up MP3s if they're downloaded to the watch. Now flipping the watch on the other side, we've got the dedicated start stop button on the top here. And it's odd that on the Forerunner 965 I have here, it's got a little Garmin logo etched into that start stop button, while on the 265, which is the little brother to this watch, they've got the word run etched into that button instead. I prefer the Garmin logo, but it's really personal preference to you. And then below that start stop button, we've got a dedicated back button. Now flipping the watch over, you can see that the included band in the box is this kind of two-tone gray and black band, which does look pretty nice. However, one thing I thought was kind of interesting is that this is not a quick fit band, as you would find on something like the Garmin Epix Gen 2 I have here, with the little latches on the back here to get the band on and off very quickly. This is a standard band, so there's no quick release system, no quick fit system at all. If you want to remove this band, you will need a little tool to get in there, pop the little spring pin out, and then put a quick fit band on it. It is compatible with quick fit bands, but one is not included in the box, which is kind of a bummer. At $600, you'd think they could throw that in for free. I do have one concern about the bezel and the glass material on the front of the watch, because this is not a sapphire lens on the Forerunner 965. This is a Gorilla Glass lens, which is supposed to be scratch resistant, but it's not scratch proof by any means, where a sapphire lens like on the Epix Gen 2 I have here is much more scratch resistant. So as you can see, the glass on the front here has this sort of beveled or rounded off edges to it, which does look really nice, but it is proud of the bezel. The bezel around the perimeter of this watch is not protecting the glass. If I put the watch all the way on its side, you can see that the glass protrudes above the bezel. And what that means is if you're on a mountain bike and you take a fall, or you're trail running and trip, the first thing that's going to make contact with this watch is going to be the glass on the display if you fall with your wrist on the ground like this, which is not great. Diving into the user interface on the 965, it's just like every other Garmin out there, from the Epix Gen 2 or the 265 or even the Instinct 2X I have here. They all have a pretty similar user interface with these widget glances that you can scroll through. However, on the 965, the widgets are really nice to look at, and the screen is very responsive. As you can see here, there's no lag at all. Everything is very fluid and smooth. And I really like using this watch overall, thanks to that increased screen size and the really fast computer or refresh rate of the screen. And just like on the Forerunner 265 I showed on the channel a couple of weeks ago, these widgets have been updated to have some animations. So for example, if I scroll along, you can see kind of a scrolling animation that goes across each of the widgets. And if I dive into something like the weather widget, you can see I've got this really cool animation in the background for the current weather conditions, which right now is kind of rainy and gloom here in northeastern Massachusetts. And you can see that the background of the weather widget reflects that. As I'm making this video, I've been playing around in the settings a little bit and seeing what's going on with this watch. And I noticed one strange thing about the activity data fields in each activity. So as you can see here, I'm in the run activity and I'm in the settings so I can configure each data page. And right now I'm configuring the layout. And as you can see here, the most data fields I can have on any given page is only 6. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from my timer, my distance, my pace, lap time, etc. I thought they would have allowed you to have up to 8 data fields on the 965 thanks to that bigger screen and higher resolution. It seems like they've got enough real estate for that, because if you look at the Garmin Epix Gen 2 I have here, which has a smaller display than the 965, it does allow you to have up to 8 data fields. So why they limited the 965 to 6? I don't know, maybe because it costs less money. They wanted to have some way of differentiating the 965 and Epix Gen 2. I just thought that was kind of a strange thing to leave out. Something I was really excited to check out on the new Forerunner 965 is the mapping and navigation. And as you can see here, there's just a ton of detail on this map thanks to that large high resolution display. It's super easy to read, and it's all touch enabled, so I can drag around the map and I can go down and see even more detail. I can zoom in and out using the buttons on the side here. And it's just a really nice mapping experience. And I'd probably go as far in saying that this is probably the best mapping and navigation experience that you could have on any GPS or running watch out there right now, thanks to this larger display, and this being the biggest display that Garmin makes. And now we've come to the official point of this video where I'm going to remove the Garmin Instinct 2X from my wrist, and we're gonna slap the 965 on my wrist, and this is the watch I'm going to be wearing moving forward. And I'm gonna put it through its paces and test it. And eventually you'll see an in-depth review on this channel. And the real question is, will this thing hold up in my use? Will I get the durability and battery life I need? Well, we're gonna find out, because in a week I've got a 50-mile ultra marathon, and I'll be wearing this watch to that and put it through its paces, and then I'll report back. And I think that's it for this quick video. This was just an unboxing and quick overview of the Forerunner 965 to give you my reaction to seeing it for the first time and what I think about it so far. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe down below so you don't miss more videos from me in the future. And also drop me a comment down below and let me know if you ordered a 965, if you've already got one or you're waiting for one to come in the mail. I'd love to hear from you. And that's it. That's the end of this video. This was a quick one. I'll see you next time. Bye.